A specialist in public policy and local governance, Solly Masilela, joins us now via Zoom for a little bit more. Mr. Masilela, thanks very much indeed for joining us. We've been using the word imminent for some time now, but one does get a sense when the President meets with the alliance partners and his top officials that something is about to happen.
Evening, Peter, and thank you very much. Evening to your viewers at home also. Those are the high caps, you know, running a country or running a governance within such a complex system of alliance partnering. As you are correctly saying, he has been under pressure previously for announcing cabinet without consulting broadly with the alliance partner. He is now trying to fulfill that particular obligations, and thereafter we might expect that he might change. But for me, Peter, the changing of cabinet is not an issue at this stage in time. Yes, the country, the socio-economic conditions of the country, the state of affairs of governance as a whole do warrant the cabinet shuffle. You must remember, Peter, President Zuma was changing cabinet at 12 o'clock, almost fortnightly so, and he has also been blamed of being changing cabinet frequently, and that, according to some people, hasn't been assisting the country. Probably he's taking his time, particularly, Peter, I agree with the notion that it is his last term. He's going to be judged by the very same cabinet he's going to announce. The South Africans having waited for such a long time, if he comes now with an announcement which is not befitting the challenges facing the country, policy-wise and policy implementation, he's going again to be in serious trouble with the population at large. Probably he's trying to close that gap and say that. And we must also remember that permutation within the ANC itself in terms of balance of forces, and also the issue that there are vacancies within the cabinet itself, and also take into consideration the predicament within the ANC itself in terms of the deputy president. He's trying to mingle around those particular challenges and come up, but he's going to be judged on the outcome in terms of the cabinet is going to be announced, Peter.
I suppose whatever he does with this cabinet, there are questions that are being raised and promises that are being made about professionalizing government. And I suppose that will mean putting ministers that are fit for purpose, because in the past, we've seen ministers being minister of this one week, minister of that the next week, and then 3 months later, the minister of another cabinet, another post. That kind of thing can't be allowed to continue, surely.
Agreed, Peter. Another angle is that one of coming up with a government structure which is mean, as he promised initially when he came on board as a president, that is going to reduce the size of governance, particularly nationally, because it is seen as bloated and eating in the very same budget which the country needs that much in terms of implementing service delivery. He is trying to play around those things. Also, who are you appointing? There is also an issue of generation mix in the hot pot. I've said previously that I pity the president when he was just swearing in. He said he's coming in during a very difficult time of a country. But Peter, what is very interesting is that South Africa is in this situation because of the very same ANC which is ruling now, and the ANC which is now coming up with issue of unity, rebuilding, and all those things, rebuilding itself. Hence now it is becoming very difficult for him to move faster in terms of implementing the cabinet reshuffle. The issue of generational mix, as I mentioned it, the issue of who is he leaving out. Actually, for me, Peter, those ministers who has been ministers for since 94, and some of them visibly they are aging, they can assist the president by just resigning and opening up those space for those generational mix. But he's got a challenge again when you have a minister like Aaron Motsoaledi, who's seen as a minister who's really having the metal in his hands and working very hard. How are you leaving him out? And how are you bringing in the generational mix in the world? What about those ministers who have demonstrated publicly so that they are not in support of the current president during the Nasrec conference? How are you handling all those things? But the president must then become the CEO of the country and cut everything short. He has now consulted. Let him deal with this matter so that the country becomes now stable and settled, and start dealing with the real challenges which are facing the country, Peter.
All right, so 4 MPs were sworn in not so long ago. Some pretty obvious. Paul Mashatile is the deputy president of the party. What about the likes of Sihle Zikalala and Parks Tau? Do you see them coming into cabinet?
I think indications are that they might come in. I won't be surprised when they come in as cabinet members, given the whole situation politically, and also a bit of experience they've gained. I mean, they've been in departments. Sihle has been the premier of KZN, and also the age are on their side, and they seem, in my eyes, they look like those leaders who will bring new values, new hope in the whole governance structure of the ANC. I think they might come in, but the huge challenge faced by the president, Peter, it's more of those ministers who are not members of the legislature as we speak now. As we know that in terms of our constitution, he's allowed, I think, to appoint 3 ministers outside the legislature. And he has now brought in, he has also created a serious challenge for himself by announcing an additional minister of energy. Now, how are we then balancing all those things and dealing with all the regulations regulating members of the legislature nationally? It's bringing also a challenge into him speedily implementing his decisional cabinet reshuffle. But as I'm saying, Peter, he is going to be judged. He has taken a lot of time, but he's going to be judged that whether that time was really a time which he was preparing to deliver something concrete for the country.
Mr. Masilela, we're going to have to leave it there, and we'll have to wait and see what happens in the coming days. We're told that it could be before the end of the month, which is tomorrow. So we'll wait and see. But thank you so much for your thoughts tonight.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you and welcome.
All right, so that's Specialist Public Policy and Local Governance expert Soli Masilela speaking to us ahead of what's being described as an imminent cabinet reshuffle. We'll have to wait and see. Indications that it could be before the end of the month, which is tomorrow, isn't it?